Now this here is covering what you need to do when you want to edit a post for the first time. Now if you haven't seen how to edit a page for the first time, it's best that you go and have a look at that post or that tutorial first, because the first part of it is pretty much exactly the same. But in this particular case, we're on the WordPress dashboard and we're going to have a look under the post section, under all posts. Now in this particular case, I'm going to try and edit the 5 rules for strong copywriting part 1, so I'm going to click on that. Now, just like we did before, we would have this opened up in our text document as well, and make sure that's saved. So we already have that done here in this particular case. So I'm going to open that up, and here is the HTML for that particular post. And once again, I can go and have a look at that post on the website, have a look what it looks like, see what it is that I need to change, see where the headings are, see where the paragraphs are, and see what they look like on the HTML. Okay, now this one's a little bit different from what I showed you in the previous example, which is a good thing, so you can learn a bit more. In this case, we can see that the H1 tag looks a little bit different to what we saw last time. Before, it was just a plain H1 and a H1 closing tag on that side as well. But let's have a look and see what this does when you have a heading with this little bit of funny, strange code in it here. Let's have a look, and we can see that particular heading is in the center of the page instead of left aligned. So that little bit of code there just controls that it's center aligned. You don't really need to know that right now, but it's just starting to understand how things work. Okay, there is something else here that you wouldn't have seen before, and that's this more tag. So I'll cover what that is in just a moment. A few additional things here. This looks a little bit different as well. Something there, UL. So we'd scroll down, see what that looks like. And you know what I've done, I've gone to the wrong post here. Okay, so now that I'm on the right post from the text that I was just looking at, if I scroll down to that little bit of code that looked different from what we'd seen before, we can see that this looks different. It's actually bullet points on the page. And so this is a great way that you can learn new skills. Like if you find a page on your website that's got a particular feature that you want to replicate, all you would do is find the code that you've got for that other page, see what it looks like at the back end, and you can see how that all comes together. And now again, if you want to understand that a little bit more and want to be more adventurous and learn how to insert lists or bullet points, all you would have to do is look that up on the W3 schools that I mentioned in an earlier post. Okay, now all of this is going to be the same as what we talked about in the how to edit a page for the first time, but there are a few additional things that you need to look at, such as this more tab here. Now the reason that's there is if we have a look, now this is what's known as a single post page, but if we go to the blog page where all of the posts are displayed like this, and you can see here's that post again. The only difference is it's much shorter. It ends right about here. So on the index page you get a little bit of an intro as to what the post is about, and then people have the option of reading more. So what that is, if we now have a look at the code here where that read more section is, we can move that up or down so we can show as much or as little of this text as we would like, and then that's what will be displayed on the index page. Now there is another way of doing this, and not all websites work the same. So just to confuse you here, if you attempt to do this, if you have a look at your website and you notice that, you know what, this index page looks quite different from what you're looking at when you go to the single post page, and the text is different from the start of the post, there's another way that that's done, so other than using that more tag that I just showed you a moment ago. So I'll cover that right now. Okay, so let's have a look here. If we were to go in and edit this particular page, normally you'd paste all your HTML in. The more code would be there to show WordPress where you want the index page to stop showing. But if we scroll down, there's a lot of other options that you can use with WordPress. Now some of them might not be displayed at the moment. In this case it's not, so what I would have to do is screen options up the top here. And let's have a look. This excerpt thing, what else do we need? Featured image is already there. Okay, so what this up the top here is just showing you other different options that are available when editing your pages and posts. And so now that I've scrolled back down again, the one that I've just selected, now this here, if your index page looks different to your full post page, then it's likely that the description is actually in this section right here. So in here you can type whatever description you want. There might be a limit to the amount of characters that you can use depending on how your website is set up, and if the image looks totally different as well to what you're seeing on the single post page, that's probably controlled by this thing down here, the featured image. Okay, and on this particular website, the index page is actually fully controlled by what goes into the post and then where I put that more tag. But as you can see, I've still used this feature image, and it's important that you do that because there's possibly other features on the website that use that featured image. You can actually make it different from something that's on the post, but the other areas on your site might use that. I think I have an example right here. If I scroll down, see where it says recent posts, these images here are actually pulled from the featured image, so that's just one way that it uses it. Or for example, if you were to share this particular post on your Facebook page or something like that, often Facebook will use that featured image to display the image on Facebook as well. If you don't put that there, it can't actually pull the image from inside the post. So I would still encourage you to use the featured image inside your posts, and you can do that as well for your pages too. You'll also notice that there's tags as well to add here. These are just relevant keywords out of the post that help people find your content and your information. You can use those on pages as well, which I think I forgot to mention. And although you can add categories on pages as well, it's not as useful as it is here in the post section. So basically you just add your post and you have a number of categories there, and whichever categories are relevant, you can use more than one, tick the boxes that you want it to go in, and you may even have, if you've got a products and services category section, instead of using a custom post type as we talked about in an earlier tutorial, it's likely that you'll have to check the product or services tab here for it to show up on your site where you want it to. Now if the post that you're doing here, if you're creating a new one and it didn't fit inside any of these categories, or you wanted to change the categories, you can simply click this button to add a new category as well. So other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It's simply a matter of going back to your HTML document, finding the paragraphs that you either want to edit or the words that you want to edit, and changing those, and possibly might mean removing paragraphs or adding new ones. Just remember, if you do want to add a new paragraph, you just insert it in and make it look exactly the same as the previous one with the tags on it there.